Y'all ready?
Welcome, everybody, to what promises to be one of the most interesting episodes of Fish Stripes Live yet on a Monday evening. It's a packed house already. We've got 6 in here already, and it certainly promises to be even more packed. We've got a packed schedule. Usually I have this big, long, organized outline when I do these shows. Today it kind of says shambles. I don't know if you can see in the camera there, but I mean, that's what my timeline has been in. That's what my body's been feeling like recently. I'm sick, as you might be able to hear. Today is my Michael Jordan flu game. And I think a lot of us are really kind of sick of what's going on with the Marlins right now. And I've seen that the timeline has basically just all the frustration that has been pent up from this season. I've been calling it the season from hell that's been taking place this year. All that frustration that has just been welling up over the year has just kind of come to a boiling point when Craig Mish reported last night that, the Starling Marte extension talks are off. And I think that a lot of people, kind of felt that was coming, but now it's official. And that kind of, obviously, I don't know how many of you were in the spaces in that chat last night that was organized by Takes Were Made. I thought that was amazing. Just the fact that Craig took the time out of his Sunday night, I tweeted about it, is just incredible. You don't get that from anybody really out there from a beat reporter standpoint. And I just thought it was incredible the way that he was able to provide information to the fans, directly to the fans like that. And I know that some of you were there. I was not. I was enthralled by The Godfather last night. Thankfully, it was a good night to stay off Twitter. But let's get rolling. I mean, obviously, we've been talking about Marte so much, and now it's finally here. We know it's going to happen. He's going to be traded. And at this point, I've kind of resorted to the fact that it really is kind of the best thing for the team at this point. They're 13 games out after a disastrous start to the second half in Philadelphia. You lose 3 of 4. Pablo goes on the IL. He's going to be out. It seems like a good amount of time. Jazz goes on the IL. Cooper goes on the IL. It just didn't stop coming this weekend. Isaac, I'm gonna go to you here first, man. Just where do you even? I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to get rolling today because there's so much to talk about.
Right. Well, I mean, it promises to be a pretty negative, show. But the only thing positive I can think of right now is that at least we know what for sure we're gonna do here. It's not like they did. They didn't.
Yeah, no, everybody's gone.
Right. They didn't make it a tough decision here. We know. Okay, Pablo, Cooper, and Jazz. You lose them all within hours. You lose 3 out of 4 in Philadelphia. I don't think there's any, arguing about what to do at the trade deadline anymore, which is good. If they had maybe split, maybe they're like, oh, we're still in it. I think that kind of put the nail in the coffin. Marte will be gone. Aggie will be gone. Yimi hopefully will be gone. But it's gonna be a tough August and September for sure. But at least there's some clarity with what the team is gonna do, which is the only positive here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to watch down the stretch. I mean, maybe you get some of these guys like an Eddie Cabrera seems bound to come up, especially, when I saw Pablo go down, I thought that kind of kicked the door down for him to appear. So, Daniel, I'm going to go to you here. Were you in that Spaces chat last night? Were you talking with Craig Mish and everybody, and just kind of what was your, on the Marte stuff? I guess that's where we'll start, and then there's a list of things we can go into that were talked about, but on the Marte stuff, just your initial reaction and just kind of what the thoughts were that were spreading in the chat last night.
I mean, in that Spaces last night, it definitely looked like, the common mindset from Craig and everyone was basically that Marte is a foregone conclusion gone. He's not going to be here following the trade deadline. He couldn't get to, a contract. Marte looked like he wanted 4 years. Marlins aren't going to do that. They're definitely not going to pay. And then Craig brought up different, Marlins are mostly going to look at for guys who maybe 1-2 year deals, maybe almost a prove-it deal, kind of like Marcus Semien when going into free agency. And just looking at that, and then Craig also hit us with a couple bombs last night, including one with Brian Anderson, which we'll probably get into later. But just about Marte, it looks bleak. It doesn't look good. He's foregone conclusion, will be gone. Will probably be in that Yankee series. Who knows? He might be a Yankee. going to that series when it ends.
Don't.
Yeah, I kind of think, where, Alex, I'm going to go to you here. Where do you think is the most likely landing spot for Marte? Who do you think can give the Marlins the best package? Because Craig all of a sudden says, everybody thinks we can get this big return for Marte. The Marlins can get the big return for Marte. And maybe when he had a 900 OPS, they could. But, we know he's been struggling recently. He kind of came out of it in Philly. Who do you think can give the Marlins the best package?
It's not the Yankees for sure. If you're talking about prospects, they have a couple names that are solid, but overall, they're not going to trade the big guys. They're not going to trade, their star-studded. They're not going to trade like Dominguez, right? They're going to trade from their older prospects for a guy like this. They're not going to mortgage what they do have for the future. So that I don't like as a potential partner, just because I don't think we would get a lot in terms of prospect pedigree. You look at other contenders, you never like to trade with them, but the Rays have one of the best systems in baseball. So that's a system I look at and I'm like, okay, I want to trade with them because of how they've built that system and all of the talent they have. So if you're talking about AL East, maybe the Rays. I wouldn't want to trade with the Yankees just because I don't think they have a lot in terms of guys that we would want and positions that we need. But if I'm going to pick one team that I want to trade with, it would be the Rays. And I know that's a tough topic because you never like to trade with the Rays. We've already seem to have lost one trade with them this year with with Curtis. If it's going to be one team, I would say the Rays.
Well, speaking of the Rays, it kind of seems like Craig was saying that the Marlins really kind of want to follow this Rays model of prospects and signings, kind of like revitalization projects like what the Marlins did with Aguilar. I think, the Marlins are going to end up winning that Aguilar signing, if they turn him into a nice prospect or something at the deadline here, or even if he sticks around for, and is the DH next year. So, John, new to the show, welcome in. Nice to meet you, man. Just your overall thoughts and what you've kind of seen the last couple of days is frustrations have come to a boiling point here.
It really has. This past series just pretty much solidified the point that we just have to sell. I think losing Jazz and Cooper just pretty much put the nail in the coffin. Hey, we gotta sell. This team really isn't going anywhere. For Marte, yes, I've been on the pay Marte boat, but I've jumped onto the trade him away, get some good products. I like the Rays, like Alex said, but it's a risk. It's a risk.
Yeah, it's a risk, but all of a sudden you look at this 2022 team and you're like, what? I've always said that I understand the Marlins not wanting to give Starling Marte 4 years, and if that was kind of the deal breaker, then I completely understand where the Marlins are coming from at that point. Obviously I think that they could have worked with the 3-year deal, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if, Craig talked about that last night, but from that standpoint, I can understand. And I was listening to the Lebertard show and they were, kind of discussing this. And it's like, well, what does he really do in 2022? But they don't seem to have a real winner in 2022 because, they're going to have to replace so many of these guys. Alfaro is a guy that Craig mentioned is gone. Brian Anderson is gone. And they have their 3 starting pitchers. They're going to have to fill in the 2. Hopefully, it just kind of falls in line with like Sixto and Eddie. But Kevin, has it gotten to a point where you're like moving Marte is the best thing? Or are you still kind of thinking that keeping Marte is what the Marlins should have gone with here?
I wish keeping Marte would be the best thing, but honestly, just move him, get some prospects back. Hopefully, close to MLB ready prospects would be the best thing. Because I don't think anyone wants to see Lewis Brinson or Monte Harrison playing center field for the foreseeable future of the Miami Marlins. And that includes, and I don't think anyone wants to see Duvall in there either, even though he did play pretty well there. But right now, it might just be best to trade him, get some prospects back. The Astros are another team that are interested. I don't know how good their farm system is, but probably get some players, at least one player from the MLB roster. And then we've also talked about, Craig said that it would probably be more than one player coming back to Miami in a Marte trade. It just won't be a 1-for-1. So something interesting to note there.
Yeah, I definitely think that, you want to keep that You want to get MLB ready players because, who's going to play center field next year? And don't even start Noah. I know what you want to say. Don't even start with that one.
No, it's
Don't
about.
mention
Don't even
that.
start with that one.
I just saw the hashtag trade Marte across the bottom, and I'm a little disappointed in Eli.
But Noah, you're the most you get the most passionate in terms of the fan perspective. You have the homer perspective so much on these streams. So let's go to the fan perspective here. From the homer perspective, like, are you just in shambles right now, or what's the hope that you still hold out right now?
I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
Basically, in my mind, what is happening here is we've gone from one extreme to another extreme. We've gone from everyone wants to pay Marte to now everyone wants to get rid of Marte. Although there were some in the middle. Most of you were in the middle. But I don't think we should be sacrificing the next 3 years for some prospects that we don't know how they're going to play. When our team, as much as everyone hates saying it and everyone hates when I say it, we have some pretty good players that, if they're all healthy, we're a pretty good team.
I mean, you have the pitching, but the offense, even with the pitching, the offense has been dismal. And,
it's been
Starling
dismal
Marte,
because everyone's been hurt.
I think that a lot of people have kind of come around on the fact that Starling Marte can't be your best player on a sustained winner. You really look at it, and Starling Marte would go to the Yankees and be their fourth best player, their third best somewhere in there. Like, if
Then
Starling Marte is the third best,
what we get in return for him then?
Well, that's the problem is you have to get something in return, right? So you can't let him walk in free agency, offer him the qualifying offer, and then, you get the draft pick. Like, you can't do that because that's just that can't happen, because a draft pick is even further away than a prospect, which is why I kind of think that, they have to go for MLB ready players with this trade.
Can you guys see me still?
The thing I want to, you're frozen right now, Noah.
Of
but
course
the thing
I am, because my computer just went completely black.
The thing I wanted to ask, we'll get you back. We can still hear you at least. So the thing I wanted to ask you from the fan, from that homer perspective is, do you think the Marlins made a big enough effort to go out and re-sign Starling Marte?
I don't think they made a good enough effort, although I don't think we're seeing the whole picture of what's going on. I think there's more talks than we think there are. It seems to me like this front office is very close to their chest. Very, very, very. Everything keeps very close in until it leaks out and then it's blown up. But I think I'll only be okay with trading Marte if we get a major return for him. I think that's honestly the only way I could reconcile in my head trading Marte.
I think if you want to talk about a major return, the only chance you were going to have at getting that was doing that, maybe a month or so ago, 2 months ago, when he was at the top of his game. And there were a lot of people then that were saying, it might be best to ship him off because of what he can bring back. But now all of a sudden, his OPS is down to 800, and you're looking at, a guy that's going to be 33 next year. He's on an expiring contract, and that's not as attractive to teams as we think it is. And teams are kind of looking at it and kind of saying, we'll give up some things so that we can have him for a playoff run, but we're not going to take him and then pay him $20 million in the offseason because he's going to get big money on the open market, And so, Isaac, do you think the Marlins made the big enough effort, or would you have liked to see a better effort from them?
If what was reported that it was around 3 years, 30 million, probably not. Probably a little more money. No problem with the years, but probably a little more money would have maybe have done it. And in regards to a return, what I would do is attach either Yimi or maybe Bender even to Marte, because that, maybe juices the return a little bit. Because just Marte, like you said, remember the Machado trades. Just for 2 months of Marte, you're not going to get a lot. For a year and a half of Marte, you got Caleb and Humberto Mejia. Yeah. That's not going to be too dope. So you got to attach someone of value, maybe Aguilar as well. And you can, add to the package. But it's, I wish they had maybe gone to 40 million for 3 years, a third year an option. I know Marte wanted more than 3, but I think they should have maybe offered a little bit more money. That's it.
Yeah, John, if you go that attaching route, which I hadn't really thought about before. I always thought they would just kind of trade Marte, that would be enough, but sweeten that return kind of like they did with they threw in Simber in the Dickerson trade to kind of, get that prospect back. So John, when you look at it, who could you see possibly attaching to Marte?
That's a good question. I like what Isaac said about, putting Aguilar in it because it just increases our chances of getting a better product in return for Marte Aguilar deal. People were also asking me, what are the chances of the Marlins, trading him away and bringing him back in the offseason? Because I don't know how I would feel about that.
I think that ship has kind of sailed. I think that sailed when they came to him with an extension offer that wasn't up to his standards. I think if they come to him they say we're going to try and sign you back in the off season and we'll throw a bunch of money at you, then maybe that happens. But that's so rare in baseball. It's happened more recently because the free agency has been so weird recently. Like Aroldis Chapman obviously is a big example where he gets traded and then he goes back to the Yankees and stuff. But I just can't see that, especially now. I think that the bridges have kind of been burned with him. And, as much as he said he wanted to stay in Miami, he told Craig Mish that it's like, we don't know what was really going on. We don't really know how much he wanted to stay in Miami and how much of an effort he really made to try and come to terms with the team. And that could be another factor in this, is that he, didn't want to compromise and he didn't want to give up the extra year. And I can understand the Marlins not wanting to give him that fourth year. The money, we can talk about. But all right, the next thing, with Marte, obviously, it's the big topic, and now we kind of have a resolution. He's going to be traded. But I kind of think that the next thing I want to go into is just what happened with this weekend, and now Jazz goes down, and Cooper goes down, and Lewin goes down in AAA. He pulls his back on a swing.
That was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and that's just like, you would assume that Lewin would be brought up to replace Cooper, and then now he's hurt, and we'll see what his status looks like. But Kevin, where the fuck is Bryson Brigman? Like, what is going on?
He's probably going to come up either September call-ups, or they're probably going to bring him in after the trade deadline is out, I'll think. Or if not, the Marlins are eating a little bit of shit right now. But, besides that, yeah, the Marlins need to call this guy up right now. It's over. The season's over. Just develop your young guys. Bring up whoever you can at this point. Brian Miller's one guy who has to be up there right now. You also have a guy like Bryson Brigman, who you mentioned. So Marlins, just start bringing up people, man. Let's get season's over. Start trading. Let's get something going.
Kim Egg, we know you're in here.
I just love that I'm on the injury report that I bit my tongue.
We were waiting for you to notice.
This is hilarious. Alex, you're our prospect guy. You went up to see Jacksonville recently. I know you watch pretty much every night. You're keeping up with them. So, what's going on here, man? What's the deal?
I'm as lost as you guys. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just as Kevin said, whoever's close, they got to be here. And like you said, just to go back previously about, you guys were talking about attaching a piece to the Marte trade to make it a little bit better. Just a guy that I didn't see him with Durham because he's in AA, but a guy that I would target if you're going to go to, like, with an attachment with Marte, the guy you target if you go to the Rays is Xavier Edwards. That guy, I covered him in high school ball. That guy hits, dude. He has one of the quickest bats that I ever saw in high school ball. He's amazing. He went to North Broward Prep, I think. He's from Coconut Creek.
Yeah, he did.
So, local kid. If you can get him, second baseman, shortstop, switch hitter, for average, 22 years old playing in AA, you got to do it. But anyways, that's going backwards. To answer your question, yeah, I don't get it. You would want to see Dunand, Bryson Brigman.
Same.
You'd want to see Brian Miller, as Kevin said, Lewin if he's healthy. I mean, there's other guys as well that down there that you could bring up and just let them play and see what you have, especially with a couple of these guys coming up on Rule 5, Brian Miller included. You got to protect them or you don't, and you risk losing them. So you want to see what you have. And why not? There's no reason not to. So the season's over. Marte is being traded. Aguilar's probably going to be traded. Do it. I don't understand. When will we get clarification? I gotta say, once Marte's gone, that would signify that okay, here they come. So that would be my guess.
Yeah, and Alex, we were kind of. I saw you, Alex Contreras, I should say, Mr. Alfaro lookalike. I saw you in my mentions having a discussion about Isan Diaz and just like why he's still getting his chances, and I couldn't really, follow the conversation. So I just wanted to, see what you were getting at. Obviously, like, my brother goes, well, you keep these guys up and try and keep get them to be trade bait, but at this point, like if they're up and they're performing like this, they're just depleting their value completely. Nobody's going to want to trade for these guys. So Alex, when you look at Isan and the fact that he just keeps getting chances, like what are your thoughts on that? You're muted. You're muted. There you are.
Oh.
There you are. Gotcha.
We're good. All right, here we go. All right, first and foremost, man, let's go Marlins. This shit is down here right now. It can't get any worse. But, like, how do I feel about Isan? Yeah, it sucks that Jazz got hurt. Nobody wants to see Jazz get hurt. You know what I'm saying? But, like, Isan's getting an opportunity right now. What if Isan catches fire and he just turns it up? That would be ideal for everybody. Long story short, I feel like it's not going to happen. And that's why we traded for a guy like Joe Panic. Hey, what's up to my guy? Look at my guy Jody in the building.
Are you on a bus? Are you on a bus right now, Daniel?
I'm leaving school right now. I had to take a quick break to go catch the bus right now.
Oh, is that the campus bus?
Yeah.
Love it.
Times.
The FIU bus had to ride it in style.
Yep.
Daniel, Can I ask you a question? Like, where is Bryson Brickman, dude? What's going on? Like, how sick are you of just the same repetitive cycle? Here comes Brinson, here comes Diaz, and here comes an arm that we've never heard of. Like, what does he have to do to get a shot, dude?
I don't even know. I think maybe Brinson or Diaz, maybe one of those two guys get traded. But knowing the Marlins, they just love themselves some Brinson and some Diaz. Those guys they feel like they're going to be Marlins for life. 10 years, they're going to be in the rafters in their stadiums, but it's just really incredible. Like a guy like that who's on the older side of a prospect, it just seems like, they're having a really great year and they don't really want to bring him up or anything. They want to keep having guys like Diaz and Brinson. It's just, I don't know, like it dumbfounds me when you have guys like, guys who are earning opportunities and they don't get up. It's just really, I don't know what to say.
And I was talking about, that playing these guys is kind of like depleting their value. Like Monte Harrison's a guy that could have value to a club with his speed and defense. A playoff club that needs some speed, needs some defense late in games. You saw what he did making that catch in the 10th inning of that game in the 9th inning of that game the other night. But putting him out there and letting him, take these at bats where he just looks lost at the plate and he's swinging and his helmet is coming off. Like, people around the league notice that and they're not going to want to trade for any of these guys if they see them, doing that. So the Marlins, this has been the problem all year is that they haven't been able to, deal with the injuries. They don't have the depth at the major league level in their farm system at the major league level and just below to replace these guys when they go down. And now that's why September and August and September could look so ugly because you could be looking at 60 games of Lewis Brinson and Monte Harrison in center field replacing Starling Marte, and it's just you can't do that. Alex,
you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you right now. If these are the last 60 games that guarantee Marlins Nation that we're going to see Monte Harrison and Lewis Brinson, all these terrible guys that haven't contributed to our whole team, then so be it, bro. For 2022, I want a clean slate. Kim has been in the throne for a year and a half. Kim, you got to take the keys to the car, and it's time for you to show why the hell you in this position. I don't want to hear no excuses about, oh, she's the first time year general manager. Nah, bro. Listen, somebody said something on Twitter. Do y'all miss Mike Hill or do y'all like Kim Ang? Listen, man, I don't want to get into the whole political shit, but I need Kim to step it up for our whole team. Like, it can't be that we have Gary Cooper, Jesus Aguilar. We got all these great veterans that we can trade. And I know they're a little bit hurt. But damn, we got to flip them. We got to do something with our team if we want to move forward, bro. It's the 2021 season, I'm sorry. And the Marlins need to move it forward, bro. Yeah. Like, all our guys are getting hurt. And we're not doing anything with the pieces that we have. We need to do something with the pieces that we do have.
Yeah, I agree that it's clean slate time. Like I kind of agree that it is kind of clean slate time, and it's just time to clean house. And Isaac, when you see Cooper go down, and now he's on the IL for 10 days, so he's not getting traded.
No.
What the hell? What the hell, man?
I don't see what they can do, man. Craig did hint at, if Pablo, I'd asked him the question last night. If Pablo was healthy, does he get traded? And he said it's a possibility for sure. Cooper, maybe I see them holding on to him anyway. Aguilar was a guy that Craig last night said that nobody wants him, basically is what he said, that, the Red Sox haven't called him about him or anyone else. So it's just like, it's like a shitstorm going on that, the guys that you were going to be able to trade, they can't go anywhere. And about Monte, Brinson, and Isan all getting, I think Alex was right. This is like the last 60 days. I think they cannot go into 2022 with any of those guys expecting any, major league time. Craig also said something about Brinson possibly getting a fresh start somewhere else. So I think that maybe he gets traded. Maybe he gets packaged along with someone else like Marte or someone. But it does need to be a clean house, unfortunately, which I don't know how you do that along with balancing out a 2022 competitive roster.
Yeah.
They have about 6 to 7 holes on the offensive side that they're going to have to fill some way, somehow. So I wouldn't want to be in Kim's shoes.
Kevin, when you look at the roster, Isaac says 6 or 7 holes that they fill. So, okay, we know Jazz isn't going anywhere.
Right.
We think that Miggy Rowe, although Craig said maybe he gets moved.
And he's a free agent. So
he's a free agent, but
not.
if he doesn't get traded, I think he's going to resign for sure. I think he would. At least he would like to be here. We know that. So, Kevin, when you look at it, who's here next year?
Should we put Jesus Sanchez at left field next year?
Yeah, Jesus Sanchez will be here too. I think well, especially he's we don't know what his status is on the COVID IL, but I highly doubt they're going to trade him after they cleared Dickerson off to get a look at him. And he's been looking pretty good, so I think he can stick there. So, Kevin, who's here? Do you think Duvall's still here?
Yeah,
I don't know, but Craig Mish did mention if Duvall goes into like a 40 homer season, he's probably going to decline and go somewhere else to get a better deal with another team. He also mentioned the Marlins trading Jacob Stallings. I don't really see that, even though it would be a great addition. I think the Marlins could go after a guy like that, but I don't really know what their window is right now in winning, even though Craig did mention they have to win as early as possible for the fan base and for Miami in general. It's going to be interesting what happens. I hope we see Lewin up in the majors next season, just playing full time. I think the Marlins can trade Cooper in the offseason, trade him to an American League team now when he's healthy. Since that's what Cooper needs. He needs to go to an American League team where he could flourish off the DH, unless the DH comes to Miami and again to the National League. So hopefully that happens. But if not, I think Cooper's getting shipped. I don't know what the Marlins are going to do with Aguilar, as we all mentioned already. There's no team has interest in him, so it's going to be weird to see what happens. But for sure, a lot of these guys are in the minor leagues, hoping they come up like Brian Miller. Hopefully, is on that roster next year for the Marlins. I think Alex could for sure mention some other guys in that minor league system that could come up.
John, I want to go to you. I want to ask you this. Do you think the Marlins kind of got lucky that Cooper gets hurt because now they can't trade him and he?
If we should include someone into the Marte deal, I was gonna say Cooper, but Cooper's hurt now. I think Cooper is a good piece to trade, but at the same time, he's been a huge offensive contributor to this club, and as of late, he's been pretty hot. But I think in the offseason there might be a deal for him in place, 100%.
Yeah, I think he can too, and he depending on the injury, he might even be able to, like comment just says right here, he might even be able to get traded at the deadline because somebody will say, well, when he gets back, he'll be a huge part of our club, especially an American League team where the reason that you want him in the DH is because you think that gives him a really good shot at playing 162 games, because that's the biggest concern with Cooper is that he can't play 162 games because he's not durable enough. He's been hurt. This is his second time on the IL this year, and it's second time within the last month and a half or so. And he was just getting really rolling. He's been the best player. He's been maybe the hottest hitter in the league, and now he got it's like you can't even make it up. You can't even make it up. And I think that's why so much of the discourse has been so negative recently, is because all this frustration, like I said, has just been building and building and building. And it all just kind of culminated this weekend with just a disastrous series. I mean, just disastrous. Like, it ends your season. It maybe even kills next season because Marte's gone and all these guys are gone, and you're looking around and, the clubhouse is going to look completely different next year. And, it's just like, at this point, I thought that the Marlins could legitimately win 70 to 75 games this year. And now you're looking at, is that a possibility? I'm still not
68
sure.
games.
68, are they going to have another season under 70 wins, which in the fourth year of a rebuild, like,
Another
it's enough.
one.
It's enough already. It's enough already of 100 losses, or near 90 losses.
I really hope, Ethan. I hate the
Yeah, no, go ahead.
But
Go
I
ahead.
really hope that Bruce Sherman, just like Kim Ang, has a burner account and he's listening to this shit. Why the hell did you purchase the team and tell us you would do something different? You're doing the same shit as Loria, bro. Damn, man.
This is a legitimate discussion that I think we can have, which is, are they the same? But I think that when you look at a lot of the stuff they do off the field, the way they treat people, the way they act in the community, I think it's a lot different than the Loria regime. So I think you're working with a lot different people here. Right now they're handling the things on the field the same. David Sampson was on the Lebitard show last week saying, they're going to make Starling a low ball offer so that they can look like they tried and then throw their hands up and move on from him and trade him. And that's what they did. And I really hate when David Sampson is right. So, and he was right, and it was really frustrating. And, Dan was talking about it on the show today, just about how, they're basically, and Billy, I don't know if you guys listen to the show, but Billy Gill was just all pissed about how, they're basically pulling the same things. And it's getting ridiculous at this point. And, looking forward to next year, Alex, I'm going to go to you here. Brian Anderson, I think that's one thing that was maybe the headline of what Craig said last night, which is that Brian Anderson doesn't really seem to be in the plans for next year. And I think a lot of us were kind of prepared. Maybe, some of us saw this coming, but did you find it a surprise that BA isn't going to be in the plans next year?
Yes, I would say, yeah, kind of. I kind of, saw what Craig probably saw. Obviously, I don't have the insight that he has to say definitively yes or no, or do the reporting that he does, which he does an amazing job. We all love him. There was that stuff he did last night with takes was fantastic. I just want to reiterate that. So anyways, after how he's been reporting most of the year, I kind of saw it, that is probably not going to happen. I mean, when Kim Ang was first asked about him, I think in one of her first or second or maybe third press conference that she did with us, is that she said that she has to get to know him. So, or something to that effect, which I thought was kind of an odd response. So ever since then, I was kind of questioning it. And now as time goes on, and of course now he's injured. He's been injured a little bit this year, off and on as well before now. So yeah, honestly, I'm really not surprised by it. The only thing that kind of surprises me is that it's a very thin position for the organization right now. They have some pieces that they can move to third base, but most of those are longer term. So where do you go if Brian Anderson gets, is gone or whatever traded or whatever the case may be? I guess the only answer that I can give would be Joe Dunand would hold it down. Maybe Joe Panic and Don Birdie mixed in, which they've been doing, of course, or maybe Jesus Aguilar if he's still here. Who knows? But yeah, honestly, I'm really not that surprised, Ethan. I kind of saw it coming.
Noah, I haven't heard from you in a while. There's so many people. It's hard. I'm trying to get everybody in here, but there's so many people. It can be tough. But Noah, for I want to go to you with the Homer fan perspective. When you hear Brian Anderson probably isn't part of the plans, I think a few years ago that would seem crazy to a lot of people. But as you kind of saw things unfold, you've seen the player that BA has become. What are your thoughts?
As always, my thoughts are, please God, don't let him leave. But again, I think it's one of those things where someone mentions something and we go either one way or the other. And I think everyone's jumping to, okay, everyone's gone, everyone's going. I hope that that's not the case.
It's the case. I'm sorry.
It might be the case. Let me finish. It might be the case. But for right now, we need to work with what we have. And I do think Brian Anderson is an asset that we should be working around. But if we can get a good return for him, then yeah, okay. Then it's time to let go of him.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it can't be that we immediately jump to let's get rid of everybody.
Isaac, Brian Anderson is due back just before the deadline.
yeah.
Do you think he could possibly be a trade piece?
No, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. I know some of you guys were on the thing last night. I don't think he said he's not in the plans for next year. Was it just like in the future plans of like maybe
He said the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
right for Seal? I think next year he's planning to be the opening day third baseman.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the team
Yeah.
next year.
You can't. One, he hasn't had a great year, and two, he had a bad injury, which could mess with anything. So I definitely see him being the opening day third baseman next year. And if he has a great year, who knows? But yeah, I don't see him getting traded at all. One, because you'd be selling him at his worst.
Yeah.
Two, he is one of like Noah said, he's like one of the guys where you could possibly, if he had like a 2019, 2018 season, you could build around that guy. And I think he's really cool. So I think we should keep him.
Yeah. No, I like BA too.
One of my favorite players
great.
and I ran into him the other day where I can't say where, but like he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
The only thing is you lose the year of control, right? Like if you don't deal him now, there goes another year of control, and then say he gets hurt again next year, then you're
his value
even less.
I think he's more valuable to us than he would be to any other team.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Go ahead, Kev.
Anderson is pretty injury prone. This guy gets injured a lot, and that is a reason why I think the Marlins could not trade him here, not now, but maybe next season or when his value is a lot higher. It would just make a lot more sense not to have an injury prone player on your team who's getting injured every couple weeks, pretty much. He came back, and a couple weeks later he was injured again. And I don't know what Jose Devers maybe in a couple years could come up and just be their everyday third baseman, but just makes sense to get some guy up. Second? Okay, my bad.
I think he would be second base. I think when you talk about the middle infield, like the Marlins still obviously see Jazz in the plans at shortstop for the future, and I think they should. He's got all the tools to play good defense.
Even though he's got a weak arm,
he's got a. I think Jazz is a cannon.
Hang on a second.
I think Jazz has a cannon, but
I don't know if it's a cannon. He's got an average arm at shortstop, and I think he's a good above average second baseman. I don't think he's like a cannon of a shortstop I don't know.
I think he's got room to grow at second.
He may have room to grow, but he doesn't have that cannon. The cannon is Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, well, no, but there's one Nolan Arenado, there's one Manny Machado, and there's one Fernando Tatis who has a bazooka of an arm too. But when you look at him, like I think he's had to go from second to short for a little, back to second, and you've seen him kind of adjust at both places and then settle in, and he starts playing better. And I think he definitely has the tools to be a above average defender at shortstop, and I think they see him there long term. And so if you kind of you think Miggy Rowe is here 2 or 3 more years, I think Miggy Rowe could make the move to third base because we know about his defensive versatility. And he's got an Aggie.
The only reason why I made a comment, Ethan, was because we traded for Jazz. He was a top shortstop prospect to come to the Marlins. We moved him over to second base. He took the job from Isan. Great, that's all gravy and everything. But sometimes when he's playing shortstop, I feel shortchanged. Like he doesn't have enough arm strength for him to really throw it to first base. Like I know Jazz is hurt right now and everything. I'm not trying to bash on him, but damn, bro. Like Miggy Rowe has a way better arm than Jazz. Well, there's
a reason that he didn't take the he didn't move Miggy Rowe over to second base. There's a reason that Miggy is the everyday shortstop over there. And so when you look at it, I think that Miggy Rowe could be in the plans at third base long term. Because he's played there before, and as he gets older, that could be a better spot for him. I don't know.
Sounds great. That sounds great for Miggy and everything, but that doesn't take away what I'm saying about Jazz.
No, I understand what you're saying.
He's got a crow hopping from shortstop to first. What's up with that?
I understand what you're saying, Alex, but I'm just saying, when you talk about, moving on from Brian Anderson in the future, if Miguel Rojas is here on a 2-3 year deal in free agency, then I think if you keep BA around for 1 year, then Miguel could be, an option at third base in 2 years. But, I'm realizing that we're getting a little too in front of ourselves in terms of getting into the intricacies of the 2023 Miami Marlins. But the thing I wanted to talk about next is where can we even go, man? There's a million ways.
One thing,
Isaac, you were in there, so let's go to you because I got to drink some water.
right.
The one thing that really caught you off guard from the chat last night.
Well, first of all, like all of you guys have mentioned, I messaged Craig last night. I said it was very generous of to be on there answering everybody's questions for 2 hours straight on a Sunday night. Kudos to him, and he replied very nicely. The thing about Jazz really quick, I think Jazz, arm aside, Alex, he's a much better second baseman defensively than shortstop. I think I've seen that. Forget the arm, take the arm out of the equation. He is phenomenal at second base. Not phenomenal, he's just way better at second than short. I didn't see that coming, but it's just the truth. And about last night, I mean, the BA news was kind of, interesting. And just, I guess, Jazz is the one untouchable was the main thing that I got from it. And that I guess Sandy and Trevor as well. But no, other than that, I just don't know how we're going to fill those. You have Jesus in left, Jazz at second. You have 6 holes to fill. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what gets done. I don't know if you guys have any names. I know Stallings was mentioned, but if anyone has any names that maybe they can sign in free agency. Chris Taylor, I think, was mentioned last night. We'll see because they're short 2 outfielders, 2 infielders, and a catcher. So someone's got to fill it.
I saw a picture of the center field market last night because obviously, the discussion is who plays center field next year. I have no idea where they could go in center field. None. Yeah, I don't know who they could sign in center field.
Duvall, I don't think you want Duvall here every day.
Yeah, but again, if Duvall hits 40 home runs, Noah, I see you. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. John, I want to ask you about this. Sandy Alcantara, Craig mentioned this last night, is that he could be a good candidate for a extension. Okay. As much as we've talked about, that the Marlins kind of showed their true colors with, not extending Marte. I think that the fact that they're extending Sandy, they're willing to go and lock up Sandy, maybe Trevor, maybe Pablo. I think that says something because they're realizing that they've got these 3 pitchers and they need to lock them down and they need to get it set up so that you build around these 3 pitchers. You start plugging in the offensive pieces. And, they've been burned by a couple bad deals here in free agency. The Dickerson deal really didn't work out. And I think that I'm pretty sure that my buddy told me that Craig mentioned that's part of the reluctance to spend on Marte is just that they've been burned by some bad free agency deals. So, kind of try and find the pieces around the offense. But how happy were you made by the news that Sandy Alcantara could be an extension candidate? And do you think, it now is the time to lock Sandy up?
That's a good one. Wow. See, I love Sandy. All due respect. I've always been higher on Pablo. On the other hand, I love Pablo. I think he's personally having a better season than Sandy this year. But in general, does Sandy need an extension? Yes, because they've solidified that they have a big 3 in place, and the fans are going to be like, wow, we have. This is not only just the team, but the goal is also to restore the fan base, and the fans are now looking at Sandy, Trevor, Pablo, and what Sixto's coming back next season. Let's say he comes back to his potential, but then again, that's a hit or miss because we don't know what an injury does to him specifically, and probably who knows, Edward Cabrera or someone else comes out of nowhere and surprises. Eliezer, well.
He was a prime trade candidate for the Marlins. Let's be honest. He was a guy that looked like he could be chipped off. But yeah, Daniel, by the way, glowing on that bus ride. That lighting is just fantastic over there. But I'm curious, do you think that the Marlins have a good chance to get out in front on the Sandy extension here? Like, do you think that they can get him for a good price, or has he pitched well enough to where he's going to get a deal that, is really good for him?
I mean, I think overall you just have to re-sign, but extend Sandy. It seems like he's one of the top 3 guys in the organization in terms of guys they want to keep. Like Trevor and Jazz. He's a guy that you can build around, and maybe the numbers aren't really showing for Sandy just because of the offensive production. But Sandy has just been one of the best young, pitchers, not just for the Marlins, but maybe the entire, National League. And he definitely just warrants an extension. It just really depends on how many years you want to give him and just really how much, because the Marlins aren't really the type of organization to just give a guy, over $100 million, We saw that like one time with Stan, and look how that turned out. So it really just depends how much they want to pay Sandy, because they don't even want to give Starling Marte 40 million and barely even 30. So it really just depends on how much they want to pay Sandy.
Well, remember that Ronald Acuna Jr. signed a 10-year, $100 million deal or something ridiculous like that with the Atlanta Braves, and I'm looking at that, and Albies, they also got Albies on a really, really good contract, and I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, say again, yeah, it's ridiculous. I would fire my agent right there if I were Ronald Acuna, and I would also hold out going into next season. But when I'm talking, when you look at it, I've said before that the Marlins should take this opportunity to lock up Jazz. Make a statement to some of the fans that we've got this core of guys and we're going to start piecing things around them. I do think you can kind of fill in pieces around them. When you look at it and you've got the big three, so you're going to maybe lock up Sandy. Trevor's a guy that I think they'll start talking to an extension about eventually. Pablo maybe. Sixto if he comes back healthy. Kevin, when you look at this, like all of a sudden you've got a pitching core, you've got Jazz, Jesus, Lewin. If a few bounces go their way, like they're still not that far off, right?
Yeah, and it makes Miami a more enticing destination for free agents to come to, especially you have a good pitching core, you have players that are locked up for a long time to come. And yeah, Sandy needs to get extended. And if they make the same pitch they made to Marte, goodbye Sandy Alcantara and any other Marlins player who's up for the extension. Because if the Marlins do the same thing they did to Marte, goodbye any player who's gonna get extended. Yeah, Miami looks like an enticing destination. They're building something. They have a top 5 farm system in my mind, in my opinion. Yeah, just make something happen. Just extend these guys now. Do it early so you don't have to do it when maybe your team isn't as good or you're in a worse situation than you are right this moment. So make extensions happen as early as possible. Go do it. Don't do what you did to Starling Marte. So you don't actually have players leaving.
Yeah, Alex, I want to set you up with something because you're always the positivity man, right? You've always got the positivity rolling, and I love that about you. And I'm trying to bring some positivity here towards the end of the show with what we're talking about here with, all of a sudden, like you look around and, okay, it looks really bad right now, and maybe 2022 isn't the year that everybody has been saying it is, but, you do still have this good pitching core. We know the farm system is good. They're going to try and get hitters. All these trades that you talk about, you got to start getting bats. For Marte, don't go and get another pitcher. Get another bat, and when you look at, okay, Jesus has looked pretty good in his time up here. Jazz, we know, is probably going to turn into a pretty good player in the big leagues. Lewin, we're going to find out, I think, if he's healthy down the stretch, what they have here. So all of a sudden, you've got, maybe those 3 guys on the offensive side of the ball. You've got the pitching that we just talked about. Alex, like, it's not all over, right? It's not done forever. Am I wrong on that? I you're the positivity guy, so give us some positivity here, man.
Man, I want to say positive and think that the Marlins have enough tools to trade somebody to get a bat. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, everybody in this chat, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us in here, bro, and everybody in here is like, yo, we got to extend Sandy. We got to extend Pablo. We got to extend Rogers. Yo, we got to extend Starling Marte. But damn, bro, we ain't spending no fucking money. We got to make something happen. Enough is enough. Like, yeah, I know that, we want to trade for prospects. We want to trade for guys that are the next up-and-coming thing. But damn, when is enough, bro? Mm-hmm. Like, last year, we got into the playoffs. This year, like, we're not anywhere near the playoffs. But it's like, yo, as a fan base, when do you say enough is enough? Like, Bruce Sherman came in here and he said, yo, we're different from Loria. All right, fuck Loria. All right, great. We got different uniforms. We finally got into the playoffs, but we need to keep backing it up. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that our best free agent signings are Curtis Granderson or Matt Joyce. No way. No way. If the Marlins want to spend money on the low terms, 1 year for one guy, 10 million, 15 million, let's do it on somebody that's worth it. How they did in 2003 with Pudge Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? He was the highest paid free agent at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Corey Dickerson's that. I'm not saying any guy that we've signed right now is that. It's because they're far from it. But damn, bro, it hurts that as a Marlins fan that we're not trying to extend Starling Marte. We're trying to hit him with a slap in the face. You know damn well Starling Marte is not going to accept no offer like that. Some bullshit ass offer. You know what I'm saying? He deserves to go wherever he wants to go. And it sucks as a Marlins fan because, damn, we saw this shit the other day. Name your all-time Marlins all-time lineup. And somebody said traded. Damn, bro, that's the realest shit ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I can understand how, people are tired of, 97, everybody gets traded. 03, everybody gets traded. The 2012 fire sale, the 2017
Sure,
fire
pull
sale.
out the wallet, baby. Sure, pull out the wallet.
It's time.
You
but
let
Alex,
you let the Mets owner outbeat you. Come on, let's go get somebody. Let's turn it up. Let's win a champ. Let's win a chip.
Steve Cohen almost went to prison for some hedge fund stuff, so he's got a lot more money than Bruce Sherman does just on face. But Alex Carver, I'm gonna come to you for a second. You think that the Marlins can kind of get some good graces back by getting a guy that can be at the major league level and start producing right away in the Starling Marte deal? The way that obviously he's not Mookie Betts, but the Red Sox get Alex Verdugo back, and that's a guy that comes up and comes and produces right away at the major league level. And maybe Red Sox fans are kind of like, all right, that's not terrible, but the Marlins aren't going to get that kind of value, obviously. But when you look at it, if they get a guy and he comes up and produces for the last couple months or so, do you think they can earn some of that trust back?
Yeah, honestly, I doubt it. I honestly doubt it. You could get a guy that comes here, right away and hits 300 to end the season, and people are going to be excited at first, but then it's going to fall back on what Alex was just talking about and the mistrust. Can it continue? We just traded away a star player. This guy did well, but whoever that player may be, but in that instance, if you get a guy that's really close to major league ready, which is what they probably will want, is a closer major league ready prospect. But the closer you get to the majors, the less risk you're taking and the less you're going to get back, right? So the more close to a sure thing that you get, that's where your value is. So do they try to go with a guy, like I said, like with Edwards, if they can get him from the Rays, who is still probably a year away. He's playing in Double-A and doing really well, but he's probably a year away. Or do you go for a guy that is an established major league talent just to get the production right now? I mean, how close really are they, Ethan? Are they a playoff team next year? I don't think so. So I think you go the other direction. I think you get younger guys. That's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think that's where you got to go. You got to go to younger guys in Double-A and Triple-A baseball. That's where you
just want more guys. You just want more guys to report on.
No,
Alex does love his prospects.
It's really not bad about me, but yeah.
I'm thinking, Alex. I'm thinking, at the end of the day, like you said, they're not a playoff team next year. Are they even a playoff team with Starling Marte on the team? And that's why I'm kind of looking at it. And I'm like, right now, 13 games under 500. It's the best thing for the team to move on from him, especially, with the way the extension helps.
In 2022, how many question marks? We already talked about it. 6-7 holes to fill. Are they going to fill them all and be a playoff team in 2022? I hate to be the naysayer. I hate to be negative. I'm the opposite of Contreras. We may both be named Alex, but I'm kind of opposite. I'm looking at 2022, man, and I'm looking at another 500 or sub 500 season, honestly. I just don't see it. And if you're going to trade a guy like Marte and put all of that stock into a guy that's going to be here right now contributing, even if that player may be good, one player can't win games. You need to have a whole team effort. So they have too many question marks, too many holes. You trade for younger guys, Double-A baseball, Triple-A baseball guys that are in their early 20s. That's where you get the best value as Starling Marte. That's what I think they should do.
I think that's a pretty good stopping point. I think that we've kind of touched on everything, and I think, Alex, you kind of hammered everything in there at the end, kind of put the nail in the coffin. We also have only 5 minutes left, and I think this was a great discussion. We covered pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. We talked about a lot of the frustration that fans are feeling right now, and understandable frustration at what's going on with this
Kim, we
season.
know you're listening,
This season from hell. And so let's finish off. The Marlins do have games to play tonight, and this lineup is a disaster that you're looking at tonight. Starling Marte isn't in it. I don't know if there's anything to read into that, but I don't think there is. I doubt he's getting traded right now. But
I think it's just a day off after.
It could
the
be
really weird 4-game series, and they want to give Monte a chance in center field.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think he's getting traded tonight or anything, but he's there in DC. I know that for sure. So, Rojas, Birdie, Aguilar, Duvall, Alfaro, Panic, Brinson, Harrison, Detweiler. Beautiful
Murderers
lineup.
Row, baby. Murderers Row.
That's the 27 Yankees right there. They would be jealous of that one. So, Daniel, I'm going to start down in the bottom left corner. The Marlins have 3 with the Nationals here coming up before 4 with the Padres. Your prediction for these 3 games with the Nationals?
I think they just took one game. I think they're just going to take one game, and just with everything going on, I feel like they're more interested on trading and selling than actually playing these games. I think they win one game, probably the last game. Maybe they lose the first 2, and then they get a little stuff back together on the last game. But I think they're going to go 1-2 on the series, and don't even get started on Padres because that's going to be a train wreck.
The good news for the Marlins fans is they get to watch 4 games of Fernando Tatis Jr., which should be exciting.
I'm gonna
Kevin,
be there for that.
yeah, I'm gonna definitely try and go to a couple of those games. Kevin, top left corner, your prediction for this 3-game series?
Marlins are getting destroyed tonight. Bullpen game. This lineup is garbage. Then we have tomorrow. Trevor's on. It's gonna. I don't know. I have no idea what's gonna happen with Trevor tomorrow. It's gonna be a weird lineup, most likely again. Maybe Starlin Marte's one of his final games as a Marlin. I think they win tonight. I mean tomorrow, and the final game since it's Sandy and Trevor.
All right. So a 2 games from Kevin. Isaac, I think I know where you're going with this one, knowing you. But your prediction for this series?
I've been doing this with you guys for a couple of months now, and it's been an honor. But this is like the first time where we're at this point in the show where I'm just like, I do not give a shit at this point. Like, honestly, who the but
Isaac, I feel you, man, but don't be like that. You got to keep it together for the audience, man. Damn.
Trade rumors. I'm stalking the Yankees farm system. I'm stalking other farm systems. But no, let's hope Trevor has a good outing tomorrow. Let's hope let's hope to see Monte have a nice game today. There are some things to look forward to. So
if the Yankees want to trade, I want their top catching prospect. Period. That's it.
Yeah,
Close out this thing.
I don't know that that's going to happen. Alex,
Jason Dominguez.
Alex, Marte for Dominguez. That would be tremendous. Alex, your prediction? I think you're going sweep here. I think you're just going to go sweep here for no reason. Oh no, I'm going down and then up.
Oh, you're going down.
Yeah.
I thought you went to the other Alex.
No, go ahead, Alex Contreras.
Marlins win one game.
All right.
That's
Noah.
So much for positivity.
This is the first time I've seen Alex Contreras the most negative.
Yeah, I've never seen him be negative in my life before.
That's not negative. I'm just keeping it in a huddle, man. That's the first time, and I don't know how many episodes. The Marlins win one game. That's it. Shout out to my man, Alex Carver. He keep it more 100 than me.
So someone's got to be the sacrificial lamb. I'll go with the sweep.
Felt that coming.
We sweep or they sweep?
We sweep.
Okay.
That's not happening.
Right. I'm sacrificing my dignity for this.
No, I would have said sweep and hung up.
I'm not like that.
Keep the suspension in the air.
John, your prediction for
Ross Detweiler is the Marlins are 3-1 when Ross Detweiler pitches. We win tonight, we lose the other 2.
All right. I kind of like that prediction. Alex, your prediction?
Yeah, they're going to lose 2 and win the Sandy game, I think. Eric Fede, however you say his name, is absolutely horrendous. Look at his last few starts. If we can't beat him, if we can't win that game with Sandy on the mound, this guy's given up, let's say his last 4 starts, I'll give it to you. 5 earned runs, 6 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 6 earned runs, and 4 home runs given up as combined in all of those. So, yeah, if we can't beat that guy, then I won't watch the rest of the season. Like he's shutting
us out for 5 innings.
That absolutely ends up in a career high strikeout, 12 strikeouts, no runs in 6 innings. If that happens,
Ethan, I'm staying off Twitter for like a week. Like you won't see me on Twitter because I don't want to listen to what people will say. But yeah, they win that one game. They'll lose tonight. I agree with Kevin. And then Trevor. It's a tough matchup for him. Again, it'll probably be another, pretty weak lineup. So with all these injuries and crap that we have going on. So yeah, they win one.
Alex or Isaac, you said it earlier, there are some things to watch going down. I just want to see development. I just want to see Sandy pitch well, Trevor pitch well, the games the results are the results at this point. But maybe it's just because I'm not feeling well. I don't know what it is, but I think the Marlins are going to get swept, to be honest with you. Like right out of DC. Like boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3.
16 games under, huh?
Like line them up, line them down. Like boom, boom, boom. I don't know that they put up a fight.
Also, really quick, Detweiler, by the way, another possible, trade candidate. So
Absolutely.
Everybody's
Absolutely.
trade
Liars.
candidate.
Lefty.
No, but Detweiler, he has performed pretty freaking well this year, way better. So that's like another like winning signing that they had. So like,
I want to see what the rest of
with
I
the
want to
signing.
see what
Everybody
the
was
rest
like,
of that
"Where did this
prediction
guy
line
come
was.
from?" I thought
No, he's been good. And
good.
lefty reliever. Everybody can use one. So, Alex, final word before I wrap us up here. Contreras, I see you're itching.
Yo, I want to say shout out to Isaac, bro. His prediction was I don't care, and like shout out to Ethan Bartman out here from Cub Stripes.
I think that's the perfect way to wrap it up. For everybody on here, John, Alex, Daniel, Kevin, Isaac, Noah, Alex, me, Eli on the 1s and 2s. Try and enjoy the next 3 days. I don't know how. Stay positive. I'm gonna watch Godfather 2 with some friends tonight. Like go enjoy. Go outside. Go outside. I love you guys. Go outside. Talk to you guys later. Go fish.